The fact is that we're doing it. We're doing it, and we're going to come back to that. We're going to come back to that thought in a second, but I really want us to see, and with all of what we're doing, and it's going to get to, I can't be really kind to myself when something bad happens, and I'm going to add in a small little word, yet. That I can't be kind to myself when the thing happens, yet. But if it's worth doing to be kind to ourselves, it's worth doing it badly at first. I'm going to ask us to take our thoughts for a second as we're all here, and I'm glad that we're all here, and take a moment for just 2 minutes of silence to center us, to get us here, to think about all of the lessons we have in the world, all of the people who have died in this past week, all the people whose hearts are hurt. Let's just take 2 minutes, 2 minutes for a little bit of reflection and thought. So here's a timer for 2 minutes. All right. Well, welcome. Glad everyone is here. Who's here? Saturday service today is May the 29th, 2021. And let's get going. There were some follow-ups I wanted to make because I got some emails from things we had talked about last week. And one of which said, well, Rabbi, you talked about these two things. You talked about discernment and judgment, and how we want to add a little bit of space between the two of them. That sometimes we just come out with a straight judgment, and we can see that that's an opinion, and there's something that we notice, and then there's a layer of opinion we add on top of it. And something I wanted to circle back to, based on some feedback, was, so you notice something, and then you say something judgmental. That's one category of this. And what we're asking is, can you separate that out? The other thing is, you notice something and you think something judgmental. And I wanted to make a real clear distinction between the two. That the thoughts that we have in our head, it's not the same as the words that come out of our mouth. And there are some traditions, and I still remember when Jimmy Carter said that he had committed adultery because he had lust in his heart. That doesn't make sense to me. I can't control the thoughts up here very well. And if you have a really judgmental, snarky, obnoxious thought about something, I'm going to bring us back to that Chesterton quote, which is, we're working on trying to clean up our minds, we're not quite up to it yet. But bad thoughts, let's not condemn ourselves for those. Let's be kind to ourselves if we have a poor thought. Another one I wanted to come back to, which from last week, was when it was in the chat some last week, is you have this many days of not doing a bad habit, and then you slip off of the wagon. Is to be again, just to find compassion for yourself, and not to put an overly large smile on a shitty situation, but look, it happens. We all slip up, and maybe even to be proud of, hey, I got to a new record. I got to however many days, however many whatever, and to be proud of that, as opposed to kicking our ass again because we slipped. It's all right. I said the parts I wanted to say, and then I'm just going to repeat myself. Okay. I have a note here that says, last week our theme was learning thoughtful patience. Learning thoughtful patience. We will find out what the theme this week is, and I'm going to ask you, those of you playing along at home, keep a note card. Write down if there's a thought, a quote, something that's meaningful to you, or if you come up with, like, what's the theme of the week? What is it that we're really looking at? And that brings us to our TWIPs. And the idea of a TWIP is that this is something TW. This week I'll practice. This week I'll practice. What is the thing you want to practice this week? You don't have to know it quite yet, but I want you to think during this service, during this hour, look, I play French horn. I play it well. I get better at it because I practice. I practice most every day. My teacher said, well, Brian, maybe you can do twice a day, half as long. I'm like, I'm not quite sure how to do that yet. But it's about practice, and it's lovely, lovely. And I'm so glad that you're here at this service and that you want to further, to better your spiritual religious life. But dudes, an hour a week, you're only going to get so good. I'd like to ask you to practice. And with that being said, everyone who can, would you please take your hands? I'm going to bring me over to this screen. Take your hands, have them face you. Close yourselves up to make a fist. All right, now here we go. I'm going to do it first. It goes like this. Pinkies, pinky thumb, pinky thumb, pinky thumb, pinky thumb. I see Jordan's got it going pretty well. I see some people have like 17 fingers going at the same time. So let me say this without it being. Last week I suggested we practice this, and maybe I don't think I explained well enough why I wanted you to practice this. Is this a skill you need in life? Obviously not. There's nothing about this that's important. But the practice of this skill, if you learn how to do this, and we'll go back to the 1 through 5 learning, whatever it is we're learning, we're at a certain level of learning. We can't do it. We can do it fluidly. What was this one?
Need assistance.
You need a lot of help on number 2. Number 3 is you need a hint from the outside. Number 4, you can give yourself a hint. And if you're new to this service and you're like, well, how they all know those numbers? We have been practicing. But it was pointed out to me last week by my friend Ann, who was new here, that we've been talking a lot, and we're referring back to things that not everybody knows. And if this is your first time here, welcome especially. And if you need some review, I'm working on figuring out how that review part works. Well, let me just say that right now. If there's anybody who would like to volunteer, please put your name in the chat, to go through the old services that we have. And they're all not transcribed, but time blocks are there. And I need some volunteers to go through and see, well, when did we do the stages of learning? And when did we do the change grid? And when did we do all these different, when we did different tools? And I can give more instructions, but if you would like to volunteer to be on the committee, to look through the videos, to find the old teachings, the teachings that we did, so that you can help, and we're going to make a catalog of here all the things that we've learned, so that people who want to do a catch-up can do a catch-up. Please put your name in the chat for that. So let me go back to the point here. If we're trying to, where'd my Chesterton quote go? Here's Chesterton again. If we are trying to learn to be kind to ourselves, if we are trying to learn to be kind to other people, at first we're going to do it badly. And what I want you to do with this is I want you to practice seeing within your own biosphere of your life. You learn in a certain way. And when you can't do something and it's going all haywire, there's a voice in your head that comes out. And the reason I want you to practice with your pinky thumb, is because we know this is inconsequential. But if you can learn how you talk to yourself as you're learning, if you can hear that voice inside yourself while you're learning something that you know is inconsequential, then you can apply it to the same thing when you're learning to be kind to yourself or learning to forgive others. Is you can hear yourself say, oh, I'm at stage 4 right now with this one. I'm at stage 3, or I'm kicking my own ass. So to take time to learn, here's going to be a different example. Okay. I think this is going to work. We're going to find out. If you have shoes on at the moment and you're able to kick shoes off at the moment, to please do so. You don't have to, but I want you to think for a moment, if you don't have shoes on, when you go to put shoes on, which shoe do you put on first, left or right?
Left.
Okay, there's no right answer, but just you know which one you normally do. I want you to try this for the next week. Every time you go to put on your shoes this week, do the other foot first. Make it as though it's a rule that this week you need to put the opposite than normal shoe on first. And the reason I want us to do this is I want you to see, well, you're not going to remember every time. And you're going to be in the midst of putting the shoe on the regular foot, and you're going to say, oh, darn it, I messed up again. And I want you to listen to yourself while you're doing that, and to see what is the voice inside. And the clearer you can hear what that self voice is, the better you can apply that to when you're, again, trying to be kind to yourself, you're trying to be loving towards other people, you're trying to be patient because life. So I want you to pay attention to what shoe's happening, what you're doing. Everyone got that? Now you have a little bit of a homework assignment. And next week, anybody who wants to do mad show off and show us that you've practiced the crap out of this, please do. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
I have to ask you a question.
Yeah, do it. Thanks.
Well, what is this change? What are we going after?
Yeah. Okay, great.
You know,
great.
It's like, do this, come back, talk about it. But what is it like? Catching ourselves when we're angry at ourselves? I mean, is it that basically to come to to get closer to the idea that, you know, things are worse than we really believe them to be? So why are we so angry? I don't know.
I don't know. Worse than we think they will.
Shoes in the hands. What's the point? Is if you can relax this way and you're thinking negative thoughts, somehow that's going to change something.
Thank Michael. I'm
a little frustrated with this.
Good. Perfect. We're
awareness.
So let's try this. Do this for a second. Take your hands, interlace your fingers, and then notice to yourself, you got left pinky or right pinky on the bottom. You have one of them on the bottom. Just notice. So put your hands together like this, Schmools. Put your hands together and notice which pinky. Now undo your hands and now re-interlace your fingers with the opposite pinky on bottom.
Feels weird.
Feels weird. Some of you are making some faces. Some of you are laughing. See how some of you have already stopped.
Yep, feels very weird.
The point I'm going for is that the change that we're experiencing right now in doing something different is going to feel. All right, undo your hands and shake it out. I don't want you to feel too shook. The change that you're feeling right now in trying to change this one thing, or trying to change your shoe, or trying to change your brain so you can do this, it's all the change that's happening up in your noggin. All the discomfort. Where is the discomfort? It's
So
not.
it's just, what you're saying is it's uncomfortable to be nice to yourself.
It-
Learn that it's in time, it won't feel uncomfortable.
Correct.
Something like that.
No,
That's
not
what
something
you're
like
trying
that. Bidiyuk, that.
No.
If it feels uncomfortable
Don't
to
give
be
up,
kind to yourself, if it feels uncomfortable to be kind to other people, and you say, "Well, I'm going to just change that," you're skipping over how change happens. Change happens slowly, and change happens, and we just felt it. It feels awful. Not yeah, no. Some
I
of you
wouldn't
may.
say that. It's just awkward. Yeah, it's not.
It's
yeah.
awkward at best.
It's a different. Yeah, doesn't. It's not smooth. But yeah, I get it.
How do
So
we
that's
change? We change by practice.
Right.
So Michael, thank you so much for asking. We change by practice.
Well, I ask only because the repetition of losing it and reacting is so counterproductive and uncomfortable that at some point, if you don't stop, you're going to destroy someone and yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. You don't. If you don't, and live with the discomfort of, I don't want to keep this feeling of not getting angry or feeling nice to myself. I want to get the adrenaline running. Whatever it is necessary to do, it's pushing.
We picked up.
It's a shame that we have to wait too long. Wait too long before we change. That's the problem.
Well, we can start with today.
Yeah, no, I'm saying. I mean, that's the point. Yeah, so I appreciate it.
Last night we ordered food from the Oregon Public House restaurant. We showed up there. We were doing to go. They didn't have our order at all. And the gentleman there, his name was Ryan. He said, "Wow, you are so calm about this." I was like, "Well, y'all screwed up. Like, what am I going to do? Because the more upset I get, who's getting upset? Like, if I yell at him, now there's just I haven't always been this way. I grew up in New York City. I got pissed off at everything for all reasons. What the hell's wrong with this restaurant? And I would, but the only one mad is me.
Yeah, you're taking responsibility.
But it takes a long time to change, and that's why I was telling you about the shoes. Is to notice how long it takes to change a habit, and to notice what's going on in your head as you change your habits.
Well, I would say notice what you're feeling as opposed to what's going on in your head, just to be a little more specific. I don't know if that helps.
Good. Notice what you're feeling. Notice
how you're feeling.
Notice the talk in your head. Notice the self-talk, and then wonder who put that there.
Mm.
And do you have the power to change it? I want to teach a thing, and for Lee, I can tell you ahead of time what we're going to call this part. This is called taught and caught. I don't think I've taught this one for a little while.
Oh, taught and caught. Okay, yeah.
Taught and caught. They're two different things. Larry taught me about this one. They're the things that we're taught. We're taught you put the knife on this side of the plate and you put the fork on this side of the plate. You put the napkin in your lap when you sit down. We're taught all these things. We're taught so many things. Then there are the things that we're not taught, but we just caught. They're the things that we just noticed when they happen. And let me give an example here. Please hold. Nobody told us exactly how close to be to the screen when you're doing a Zoom. Nobody told us that. We all just kind of caught this idea that we're supposed to be at a certain distance. And it feels a little bit uncomfortable when you're not doing the thing. That's not a taught, that's a caught. When you used to go in elevators frequently pre-COVID and you would turn to face the doors, that's something that's caught, not taught. The order in which you put your shoes on, okay, Judaism actually has rules for this, but I don't think any of us here have been following those rules. Most of us put our shoes on in the order we put our shoes on, not that we were taught it, it's just something that we do. When you know what the rules are of a certain situation. These ones are easier to challenge and unlearn than these ones. Why? Because the things that are caught, we don't even notice that they got into our head. And our self-talk, for the most part, is not taught. Our self-talk is stuff that we just hear in our own head. And it's dastardly difficult to unlearn because it's stuff that we caught. And it's really hard to even see. And that's why I keep coming back to slowing ourselves down, noticing what you're feeling, noticing the thoughts in your head. Because once you notice that you learned these things because you caught them, then you have a better chance of uncatching them. Bob, you have a question, and then I'd love some other feedback and questions. Go for it, Bob.
Yeah, I guess I have a problem with the shoe thing because I usually just put on whatever one is closest.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
And as far as the elevator is concerned, that when I get in there, I sometimes I'll look at facing the people and say, the reason I called this meeting is because.
Bob, you are a special blend, my friend.
Another fun
Definitely
one.
a special blend.
Okay.
Hannah,
Get in
do
the
you
elevator
also
and
call meetings? You have your hand raised there. What do you have to tell us, Hannah?
Oh, are you talking to me? Emily can finish her thought, and
Wait a
then
moment,
I'll go
we'll
next.
Wait on you. There you go, Hannah.
Oh, I said Emily
We
can
go to
go.
our
Can
correspondent Hannah, whose microphone seems to be muted at the time.
Can you hear me?
I
No,
hear, but he
we can
doesn't
hear you.
We can hear you.
Oh,
All right, did I lose
Rabbi.
audio altogether?
Yes, you did.
Yes.
Oh, nutso!
Okay.
What the
We
heck?
can hear each other.
yeah.
Emily is-
Rabbi Brian.
Hannah wanted
Okay,
Emily to
sorry
go
about that,
first.
folks.
Yeah,
I-
Emily, finish your thought.
Go ahead, Emily. I don't even know where we were. I couldn't hear a thing.
I was just saying that it's fun to get on the elevator and face everybody and say, "Are there any elevator songs we can sing?"
Okay, now I'm in favor of all y'all be that's good. Go be nuts. But okay, wait. Besides Emily and Bob, how many of you can imagine yourselves doing that when you get onto an elevator? Here's your homework.
Go do it. Go get on an elevator and do it.
Let's stick with how awful of a feeling that is to go against the thing that you thought you were supposed to do,
Yeah, for my other water.
and realize that that's the same level of difficulty of going against the voices in your head that are telling you, no, you need to kick your own ass because you were a fool and you did that thing. It's that hard. It's that level of going to a Starbucks and the whole thing's empty except for one person at one table and going and sitting next to that person. Like, it's really hard to undo the things that we have caught. And the noise in our head is stuff that we've caught. Hannah, go ahead, my friend.
Okay, so I have a question about the caught self. Oh boy, this is going to be a lot of awk sounds. The caught self talk versus the taught self-talk. Because
Wait. Say that again. That was really confusing.
I know. Here, I will explain.
Okay, go.
So in psychology, like I'm in therapy, right? You talk to your therapist, and sometimes a therapist will say, well, where do you think that voice comes from?
Right.
And so then you can talk about, oh, well, I've learned, I've internalized this voice because I've heard it from other people.
Right. So that's a caught self-talk.
That is a caught self-talk.
Right.
Okay. That's not taught to you because someone talked to you that way and you internalized it.
It might be
It's
that
kind of
somebody told you should feel ashamed.
Uh-huh.
But that voice you have, yeah, so I see what you're saying, that you caught the self-taught that was caught. You caught the self-taught that was taught.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Right. And the
Yeah.
and the question is, how can you undo that
Unteach
part?
it. Yeah.
And all we're getting to today is that's going to be hard. And to have compassion for ourselves, because it's really hard to unlearn something that you don't even know that you learned. You don't even know where that line of code is. It's just in there. Sherry, go for it.
Why is it easier to unlearn what is caught rather than what is taught?
It is easier to unlearn what is taught because we know somewhere outside of ourselves, we know it came from somewhere outside of ourselves. The stuff that's caught, we don't even know that we learned it. So it's really hard to unlearn it. We don't even see it.
Mm-hmm.
Until I did this, nobody was even thinking about how far away from the camera you're supposed to be.
You have great pores, by the way, Rabbi.
That's a thing.
I'm going to swallow and take that compliment.
Yes. Do it.
So self-talk that is caught is harder to unlearn. That's what we're up to. Because we think it's our own rule. We came up with that rule. Nobody told. And here, if we take a moment, let's move it to theology for a moment. Most of the shit that people know about God, was it taught or was it caught? I remember hearing my kids, I know where we were walking, where they started to tell me about God and God's above us looking at us and telling us things. Annie, I can tell you were really small at the time. We were walking right near the high school. And I thought, where the hell did they get that from? I sure didn't tell it to them. But they picked it up. It's just out there. And when I do spiritual direction work, a bunch of it is trying to help people see, here are the things about God, here are the things about the world that you caught.
Mm.
And
But you're assuming you have the truth.
Say that again, Michael.
Well, what we caught is clearly we are designating teachers out there who aren't our parents, who have the best thing in mind for us, and oftentimes our parents don't have the best thing in mind for us. So, who's the subject? The subject and the object are very unclear. I mean, I just want to know, I want to just keep tracking what's going on here in terms of the goal is to be kinder to ourselves, right?
Correct. The goal is to be kinder to ourselves.
Okay, so and there are a number of people here interested in psychology and psychotherapy. So is it being understood by another person?
Yes.
That you trust helpful in this? And
Well,
these exercises we're doing are nice, but at the end of the day, someone out there, like a good friend or a therapist or someone you trust, is really understanding you. These things are not, I don't think you can do this on your own. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, let me give an example of where some help is. Right. No, we're doing, this is all coming together perfectly. You can't do it by yourself. You can't give yourself a hint as to how to be kind to yourself until you've had somebody teach you how to be kind to yourself. Maybe,
Right.
maybe you need a friendly video interweb
So you're
rabbi.
teaching us how to do that.
Maybe you need this rabbi on this side of the screen to say, hey, it's okay to be kind to yourself.
Okay,
And then
well,
maybe-
if that's where you're coming from,
And
then I
maybe-
wasn't clear what that was. Yes, so you're
And maybe this rabbi then says, hey, y'all remember this thing about being kind to yourself? And then eventually you get to this point, you go, oh, snap doodles, that rabbi told me. I remember that.
I get it.
And then we can get all the way up to fluidity. And you can just get it, but it's step by step, stage by stage.
Okay, so
Alma-
that's
Alma-
you answered my
Alma
question.
has her hand up for a long while. Alma, go ahead, my friend.
Talking about what Michael's saying, one of the things I found out is to look back on where you were when you started and see where you are now.
If you can see your progress,
Yeah.
you are already being kind to yourself.
Yeah. But you need to actually say, I wouldn't have done that at such and such a point.
Right.
And that's how you see how you progress. But you have to actually
But Alma, that's only for people who already know how to be proud of themselves.
not necessarily.
Some-
Yes, I suppose.
Yes,
It's how I used to teach children when they say I'm useless at this, and I'd say, look back a year ago.
Right,
No.
right. And there you are helping them here.
But you have to be ready to be aware, and you have to be ready to accept that you changed.
Yeah, and you have to
That's awesome.
realize nobody's going to change unless you don't like where you are right now. Unless you know there's a problem, why change? Because change is awkward and it feels icky yucky.
But you don't always see how much you've changed.
Correct. And
That's
again,
what I'm trying to say.
to be proud of yourself, that's a lovely thing. Now let's go back for a second, because while doing this beautiful review, no. There we are. There was an extra step to these 5 stages of learning. These 5 stages of learning that came from Lev Vygotsky. And he talked about this part, that under stress, I can play my French horn pretty well. And then my teacher shows up. You might be able to do this thumb pinky thing pretty well, and then next week I spotlight your video. Under pressure, we fall down a rung. It's just how we're built. So something goes really wrong. You're able to say, hey, I should be proud of myself. I should be proud of myself. I should be proud of myself. And then the food doesn't show up after you place the order. Boom. You now need someone outside of you to tell you to be proud, to tell you to be patient, to tell you that you've lost it because life has happened. That's why these virtues are so hard to get. They're so hard to get because you have to be at a 5 to fall down to a 4, because 4 is not enough. But you can't get to a 5 without a 4. Okay. Blah, 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 blah.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yes, Joe.
I have a thought to throw in for all of us to consider, in that the circumstances in which we have lived have created an environment where 5s, no matter how good we were at 5s, there's a lot of stuff with the last 18 months that forced a different circumstance. And so a lot of us could do 5s 18 months ago, and now we can't. And so we have to start over in other areas, and don't self-punish for that either.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Carol, you got your hand up. Go for it.
I think.
I'm moot.
I think I have an example of what this happened to me about what you're talking about. When you and Michael started going back and forth, my brain saw that as conflict, arguing, whatever. And my gut started going weird. And right now, I'm telling myself that I can see it, I can feel it, and I speak about it. But it's taken me years to get here.
And yay, Carol,
Yes.
right? It's that little thing, and then you
But it's taught. It's taught. I caught that it's dangerous for people to disagree. And I caught it at such a young age, it's like osmosis. It's in every cell of my body.
Amen. Amen.
It's unconscious.
Yeah, it's unconscious.
It takes a lot of work.
It does take a lot of work.
We're the right kind of people. I say I'm only better because I got myself in therapeutic places, like with you and all of you people. I
Amen.
just can't go out on the street and do this with anybody.
We're getting to there, right? We'll get there. But in the meanwhile, Carol, good for you. And then, like for some of us, we caught the idea that we shouldn't even take in compliments. How many of us caught the idea that you shouldn't? Hey, if you pat yourself on the back, you're going to hurt your arm. How many of us got some messages? Right?
Yep.
Boy, is this an uphill battle we're all fighting. No, that makes it sound awful. Well, maybe it is.
The payoff is so good.
The payoff is good. What is the payoff?
The payoff is that I'm more honest. I'm more connected to everybody. I'm not isolated like I used to be.
Right?
I'm getting to that beloved community that I've read about. That guy whose name I can never remember, the black guy.
Martin Luther King Jr.
No,
Way back.
it's Howard Thurman.
Howard Thurman. Okay.
This beloved community that we have here. You know, something happens here because we're here together and we are all trying.
Okay, I'm going to let you in on a secret, then I'm going to go to other people's hands. What works in this group is when people like Carol and all of you open up and share your vulnerability. And when we do that, I do that. When we do that, everyone gets to see, oh, we're all human. We all learn, we all grow. Jane, my brilliant partner, when Emmett was born, I had a complete and utter flip out the third time I was changing his diapers, and I had a complete panic attack that I was doing all of this wrong. And Jane said, the first rule of the new Mayer family is everyone makes mistakes, everyone gets to learn.
Good job, Jane.
Good job, Jane.
I'm gonna put that on the wall.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna take a breath of air. So that was our introduction to today's service. I have. Yeah. So I would love to have a volunteer to read today's announcement. Somebody who's on a computer who has the ability to see the screen. Oh, Hannah is all volunteers. So Hannah.
Oh, yay! I'm so
Hannah-
excited.
Alex is going to send you the announcements. Bob, is there something pressing or can we move on?
We can move on for now.
Thank you, my friend. Hannah, with our announcements for today, here are the announcement song. Wait.
I'm sending you a link. I'm just trying to get your private link up in the chat here.
Oh, okay.
Did you get to him?
Yeah, she should have it right there.
There you go.
Here,
Go
I got
for it.
Here it comes. Hold on. Loading. Hold, please. Let me get my Ira Glass voice on. Oh my gosh. And it won't scroll. Hold on. Here we go.
Should be right at the top.
Yep, I got it. My computer's just going slow. Okay. Here we go. Hello. I am Hannah. I am today's announcer for the Saturday service. This is when you're supposed to cheer a little for me because today I am the announcement reader. You don't need to say. Parenthetical. Okay. Here are the announcements. The Saturday service attendee form. Posted in the chat is the link for the Saturday service attendee form. Please click and fill it out. 71.9% of folks who do get a prize. Yay, prizes!
And that's not a made-up statistic. That actually came from Google. You'll see.
Really? You did analytics on this?
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love it. ROTV's online Unity Clubhouse. 79 ROTV phones are there.
Bad echo.
Most recently, people were answering with regard to spiritual things. That's a great word. I'm going to practice that one. What percentage of who you are today would you that you were at half your age recognize?
Okay, that made so much sense when I wrote it. Just go to the Clubhouse, you'll all understand. I'm sorry about that. That made no sense.
I think it makes a lot of sense.
Okay, thanks.
Rabbi.
You're kind.
Login information available in the attendees form. Rabbi Brian's online office is Tuesdays at 11 Pacific time. This same link. A vulnerability and honesty loving group. Donut hour. Go join Joe in the main room. Or go deep dive with. Is Kip here today?
Right, there's a big blank there, so please put a note in the chat if you would like to be the person leading Deep Dive, hopefully somebody who was in Deep Dive in the past.
What?
Mom, now's your chance. Annie is hosting For Better or For Worse poetry at your service. Cute. And the Wild West. The Wild West room is open, no host, although we wish Will Smith was joining us today. Donations. ROTV magic happens because generosity, generous donors like yourself. Donors help Rabbi Brian get ROTV magic to thousands of people every week. Please give. Appreciation time. Please put your hands together for Joe, Alex, Maria, Annie, Effia, Leah, and whoever else was left out. But we love you anyway. And now back to you, Rabbi Brian.
Thank you. Folks, I'll let you in on a little secret here. Do you want? I'm bet you can think about why it is that I have everybody cheer for the person doing announcements. Can you think about why?
They're at stage one.
Nice to be cheered.
Because it's nice to be cheered. It's nice to be appreciated, and it's an. Hey, we're adults. We're not supposed to even want that.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's something, Hannah, how did it feel when the people started cheering on you? Awkward, fun, good?
No, it's always the best feeling.
It's a good feeling. So if you want that feeling next week, come on by and read the announcements.
Mm-hmm. Tell y'all it's really enjoyable.
I have so many things I want to do at once. Oh, volunteer to lead Deep Dive. Who has been in Deep Dive for a few weeks? Who knows? Is that Barb? Are you raising your hand or moving your camera?
I have been in Deep Dive.
Would you take your daughters volunteering you?
You don't have to, Mom. I can do it.
Okay,
You're going to do great, though. You're going to do really good at it.
So Deep Dive will be with Barb. Thank you, Barb, for running that.
Yay!
Thank you, Emily.
It is quite amazing how beautiful a supportive community is, isn't it? It's quite a wonderful thing. And I'm going to jump a little bit to not theology, but church and synagogues, and how often there's a community. And a lot of times there are people who their theology no longer fits the group theology. But to say so means you would have to leave the group and leave the community.
Yeah.
Well, that's a horrible choice to have to make. If I evolved in my theology or I changed in the way that I see the world, That means I'm going to have to lose my friends.
Yep.
That's a really rough gig. And I feel really bad for some people who are stuck holding on to a God notion that they know doesn't work for them, or stuck believing in a scripture they know doesn't work for them anymore. But what are they to do?
Yeah.
It can really open up a lot of compassion. And I know there are a lot of people here who have had this issue.
Yeah.
So, okay. Cut.
Did that one time I said I was an atheist Christian. Oh, that didn't work.
and in advance, I didn't realize this is a caught thing. I didn't realize what a blessing the liberal Judaism I grew up in was.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have a hey, if you don't do this, you're out of the club rule. We had where we had a slightly different one, which is you never can leave this club.
You're stuck here forever.
Right? There was just a thing on the rabbi message board that I'm on, and there was a guy who was wanting to marry an Italian Catholic woman, and her priest needed a letter from a rabbi saying that he was no longer Jewish. And on the rabbi thread, it's going like, we don't even know how to make how do you make that form? We don't have that form.
Wow.
Wow. Good. Okay, let me see what I have time to do in our 9 minutes left. I have a thing I so want help with. Well, before we do that, do you already have a thing? What did we call this? I changed the name of it. TWIP. The thing this week I'll practice. Do you have a thing that this week you're going to practice doing? Do you have a thing you are willing to practice, you have already to practice doing this week?
Yes, Rabbi.
Good. The reason I ask is because it's easier to do if you know what it is. And
Of course.
if you have an accountability buddy already, be somebody to check in with after services, send them an email saying, this week I'm going to practice blank. And if it changes, it changes. Like, be kind to yourself and your accountability buddy. If you're looking for an accountability buddy, we constantly are cycling through and have people who want a little bit of help. I was going to say something about, here's what I wanted help with. For this week, I'll practice. If you don't already have one, here's a question. I was doing some menial task. I can't remember what it was. And I was with my friend Greg. And out of my mouth came the words, picking up dog poop in the backyard. That's what it was. I said, well, this is not what the brochure made it look like. On the brochure, people were sitting by a fire and it was sunny. And there was a sunset and it was in the brochure, people are laughing all the time. There was no part of the brochure that I remember seeing where it was, and you're going to go through your yard and pick up dog crap for 5 minutes. And I'm curious if anyone has this isn't what the brochure made it look like moment. Do you have anything that you can add to that? Well, this isn't what the brochure made it look like. Yes, Jeffrey?
That's why you have to watch out for the small print.
Well, what was in the small print that you didn't notice? What was it that this whole life thing is about that you just didn't realize? All right,
sometimes you're definitely going to have to pick up dog crap.
All right, one of them.
No matter what life you're living, there's dog crap involved.
Right. There was no mention of dog crap in any of the brochure that I saw. Is there anything else that comes to mind that, this wasn't on the brochure? Yeah, go ahead, Gord.
Sometimes your kids are going to be sick or miserable, and there isn't a damn thing you can do about it.
Yeah. Or your kids are going to yell at you and tell you they're going to tell you that thing that's going to just crush you. That wasn't in the brochure. Not you, Annie. The other one. Patricia, what do you have?
living a good life does not mean that at 70 years old, your joints don't hurt.
Oh, yeah.
The brochure didn't show us what arthritis feels like. Or the number of times you're going to go. Like, there's the picture of the happy person seeing the happy doctor, but it didn't tell you how often you were going to have to do that and how it's going to mess up your schedule.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it might have told you, but we selectively hear and see.
Oh, maybe it was in the brochure, but we conveniently ignored it.
Yeah. Yeah, skip that page.
Okay.
Yeah, that,
Anything else come to mind of this isn't what the brochure made it look like?
Well, one of the things that I wanted to share with everyone is that something that was not in a brochure. Yesterday, Rita and I had the opportunity to spend, to have about an hour and a half or so time with our great-granddaughter.
Oh.
And it was just the most enjoyable thing, and that it's just amazing how fast children are picking up things today.
Yeah.
And it was just as a one thing, she had some little blocks. And so I took one of the little blocks and put it on top of her head and balanced it there. And she looked at me and it kind of slipped off. And so then she grabbed the block and she went to do the same thing with herself. So that it's just marvelous about how the opportunity that we had that just lifted us up. And I just wanted to share that with everyone.
Well, I'm glad. Thank you for sharing it. Thank you for sharing it. Other thing. So maybe if you don't already have a TWIP this week, I'll practice. Maybe keep in the back of your head this idea of, well, this isn't what the brochure made it look like. And come back next week with those, and we might have a little bit of a laugh over them. And also, when you're doing that, when you're saying, well, this isn't what the brochure made it look like, you're changing the internal dialogue. So that instead of getting more pissed off that there's more dog shit that you have to clean up, or that you have to take care of your kid, or you have to, whatever it is, that instead of you going down that usual path, you change the path and go, well, this is going to be funny next Saturday. I'm going to get a reward of people laughing because of this awful thing that's happening to me right now.
Brochures aren't made to give you all the details. They're made to sell it.
Correct. That's right. That's right. I just got reminded that there is the Intergenerational Award. So anyone who is in you and a child or parent are here, could you please let us know who you are? Well, I know we have Helen and Emily are there, and Barb and Hannah are there, and Annie and I are there. We all get special prizes that we're going to talk about afterwards. And also, please bring your friends. We're running towards the end. Boy, I have next week's service already pretty much outlined, which is great. This went a little bit, and Alex, you already hosted, so you can start you did it. You did. All the rooms are getting set up and waiting. This is a learning process. So in our last 2 minutes, what's a one sentence, hopefully from some people who haven't spoken before, what's one sentence of something you're going to take with you from today? People who haven't spoken yet today, what's one sentence of what you're taking from today? Yeah, Maria, what do you got?
We can't do this by ourselves because we need outside reminders before we can remind ourselves.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Frank, can I call on you? The answer is yes, I can call on you. Do you have anything that you're taking with you today? You're muted, though. You can just say no and tell me to go. No, okay, that's fine. Anyone else have
her hand up?
Who's that?
Rita had her hand up.
Rita, what do you have? Thank you, Bob.
Well, I have a question. Did you ever say what the theme was for this week?
Oh, yeah. Great. Thank you for coming back. We're supposed to do the 40-minute review, but everything went for fluffy. What was the theme this week?
Change.
Change.
I'll go for that.
Change. How difficult it is to do, and looking at the stages of it especially with regard to the things that we have caught.
How we're supposed to do things badly.
And some of us are really good at doing things badly. Keep it up, folks. Well, thank you all for joining for this hour. We're going to continue with Donut Hour. Our very own Annie Mayer is running the Betterer for Verse. Our very own Barb Blake, 2 intergenerational groups are running, and she's running the Deep Dive. Joe, if you haven't stuck around, just stick around. We move people into some private rooms. Joe's going to be running our Donut Hour. Thank you all. Let's wave and say goodbye to all of our friends on Facebook.
Bye.
Bye.
Later.
Peace and love.
Okay, we are live. Shavua Tov, everyone. We are coming to you live in person from Manhattan Jewish Experience with a live audience for the first time for Havdalah. I want to welcome back Yosef. He's usually been at 3 or 4 in the morning in Israel, and now it's just like 9:30 at night Eastern Standard Time. I want to welcome Tani, our rabbinic intern, who was on Chazan Shabbos as well, together with Yosef. It was a beautiful, beautiful Shabbos at MGE. You guys want to say hi? Hi, my name is Yosef. My name is actually. We're going to, so, we've always said this, that we don't do Jewish for you, we do Jewish with you. So please light your Havdalah, welcome Shoshana. We're actually live MGE participant in the middle of Shoshana. We're lighting up here. Let's see what you can say. Oh, that's it. So flat.
You guys need to work on your sound. Hello. The sound in this video is really bad.
Blessing of the wine.
Hello. Good evening. How are you? .5 out of 10. I would say less than that. And this video that I'm watching of like Abdallah from earlier, the sound is really bad. The sound on the rest of my broadcast should be okay if you watch the replay, but this part, like the last 10 minutes and the next 10 minutes, the sound is not good. There's no festival center for the Rose Festival this year because of COVID. That would have been today was moved to December 31st. I wonder if the sound of their original broadcast sucked this bad, or if it's just the replay.
Awesome. Let me give it up for Tani, for Yosef. Thank you all for participating. It should be a beautiful and holy week ahead. A beautiful Memorial Day weekend. There will not be classes this Monday night. This is starting next Monday night. Week 6 will be teaching the Twilight Zone. Check it out online. And also Wednesday night classes this week. We'll be meeting on the roof live. The weather isn't good. We'll be here on the 10th floor right here at MGE where we got a beautiful davening. We are coming back. Next Shabbos is a blowout Shabbos. We're having a mega kiddush and welcoming the entire Jewish community back. Next Shabbos, Friday night, 6:45, Shabbat morning at 9:30. Please join us in person. In person. It's great to be online with you tonight. Better to be in person. Let's do one last song before we pull out. Really? Yeah. You're right. It's the most. Really? Yeah.
So this is a recent song that I made.
I got a call from the office very early in the morning saying that there had been this horrific double murder in a fairly upscale neighborhood just outside of D.C.
Washington Post crime reporter Justin Juvenal would learn about the rich family values of Scott and Buck and the bankrupt ideology of Adam Walker.
So I jumped in my car early that morning and made my way out to the neighborhood and began.
Hello.
You guys hear the words? It says that everyone needs a teacher, everyone needs a reverend. What? online next time in person. What's up, everyone? Have a beautiful week. What's up?
I need a rabbit.
They sent out a tweet with his picture superimposed on a Kalashnikov.
Sam Woodward allegedly embraced Adam Waffen. Nick Giampa was infected by far more casual contact.
I've never even
But in
heard of
each
this
case, the Nazi cancer proved deadly.
group before.
They reaffirm hate, they desensitize the viewer, and they create a sense of normalcy.
That this is okay.
This is acceptable.
Do you think if Buckley and Scott hadn't found those Nazi images on their daughter's phone, would they still be alive today?
Probably.
Good Saturday night, meteorologist Joseph Gaines. Temperatures are getting real hot the next couple of days. We'll take a look at those river temperatures as well. See you in a while.
Where did Wooflow's picture go? Wooflow's picture's not on my phone.
Carl, what have you done? Think anyone will notice? Yes. Yeah.
If you ride, you get it.
Yeah, they will.
Geico Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
You may have many reasons for waiting to go to your doctor right now. But if you're experiencing leg pain, swelling, or redness, don't wait to see your doctor. These could be symptoms of deep vein thrombosis, a blood clot, which could travel to your lungs and lead to a pulmonary embolism, which could cause chest pain or discomfort or difficulty breathing.
Or
and
death.
Your symptoms can mean
God, I
something
love the list of
serious.
symptoms.
So this is no time to wait.
Hi, Sabrina. Hi, Jen. So this Aveeno moisturizer goes beyond just soothing sensitive skin?
Exactly, Jen. Calmer Restore Oat Gel is formulated with prebiotic oat and strengthens skin's moisture barrier.
Oh, I love it. Aveeno, healthy. It's our nature.
Allergies don't have to be scary. Spraying Flonase daily stops your body from overreacting to allergens all season long. All good. It's Overstock's Memorial Day blowout. Don't miss our biggest sale of the season with 25% off gorgeous Sapphire rugs. Shop over 1 million deals with free shipping on everything. Overstock, where quality costs less.
Ready to shine from the inside out? Try Nature's Bounty Hair, Skin, and Nails Gummies. The #1 brand to support beautiful hair, glowing skin, and healthy nails. And introducing Jelly Beans with 2 times more biotin.
43? We won! Yes!